in open court.
The court said, "Members of the jury, we are going to go back to the prior witness now. You can go out of the courtroom. Don't discuss your testimony."
The witness said, "Okay."
The court said, "We're going to go back to the cross-examination of Mr. Barnett."
Witness entered the courtroom.
The court said, "And sir, remember that you're still under oath."
The witness said, "Yes, ma'am." Gerald Scott Barnett. Cross-examination continued. By Mr. Ferguson.
Mr. Barnett, when we broke we were talking about certain payments your company had received. Do you recall that?
Yes, I do.
It's a fact, sir, that you've received at least over $500,000 from individuals or companies who are not your actual clients, right?
That's correct.
And you said you provided services for that money, right?
That's correct. I provided security services for all that money.
But you didn't provide services to those people who sent you that money, right?
No, sir.
You provided those services to Milesqua's daughter, right?
That's correct.
And then you sent Milesqua's daughter's invoices, right?
That's correct.
And then these other people whom you don't even know sent you hundreds of thousands of dollars, right?
Yes, sir.
Now, the Guo family has helped pay for your lawyers as well, right?
No, I had to do a GoFundMe for that.
Before the GoFundMe, sir, didn't you ask May Guo for help paying for your bankruptcy lawyers?
I did. That's correct.
And you needed a lawyer because you got sued for the money your company had received from HCHK, right?
That's correct.
You were sued by the U.S. bankruptcy trustee in Milesqua's bankruptcy?
That's correct.
And you talked to Victor Serta about that, right?
Yes, I did.
Victor Serta is a lawyer for the Guo family, right?
Yes.
And you knew Serta from your work for the Guo family, correct?
Yes.
And Victor Serta helped you find the bankruptcy lawyer who represented you in that proceeding, right?
I believe May Guo found that attorney for me. I'm not sure who found that attorney.
And Victor Serta helped pay for that attorney?
Originally for the initial $10,000 that I invoiced for, that was from Victor, correct, his law firm.
And Victor Serta helped pay for your criminal lawyers too, right?
I think in the beginning, I believe so.
And Victor Serta asked that you talk to Milesqua's defense lawyers, right?
I don't recall that.
And you did talk to Milesqua's defense lawyers, right?
I did in the very, very beginning, but I don't think Victor asked me to do that. I don't recall that, but I remember having that conversation in New Jersey.
And Victor Serta also wanted you to testify in this trial, right?
Yes, I believe he did, correct.
And you did that too, right?
I was subpoenaed to. I said, if you want me to testify, you have to subpoena me.
And you mentioned a GoFundMe a few moments ago, right?
That's correct.
Victor Serta helped you set up your GoFundMe, right?
Well, I set up my own GoFundMe, and I shared it with him, correct?
You did that because he was going to help you get donations to that GoFundMe?
I had hoped so, correct?
That was your understanding, right?
That's why I sent it to him, yes.
You understood that Victor Serta was going to send your GoFundMe to a guy named Long Island David, right?
That I didn't have that conversation with him. I didn't know who he sent it to.
You knew he was going to send it to Milesqua's supporters, right?
That's correct, yes.
And, in fact, it was sent to Milesqua's supporters, right?
Yes.
And you raised tens of thousands of dollars in your GoFundMe from them, right?
That's correct, all spent on attorneys.
Ms. Strofa said, "Your Honor, could the government please let Mr. Barnett finish?"
The court said, "So permit him to answer before the next question."
You don't know who those people are either, right?
I don't recognize the names on there, I do not.
But you know they sent you money, right?
Of course. I get a thing from GoFundMe that shows who sent money.
Now, Mr. Barnett, you testified about various large properties that you looked at in person or online, right?
That's correct.
Now, nobody actually bought those properties, right?
Nope.
And when you were looking at those properties, Miles Gua had already purchased MOA, right?
Yes, this was after MOA.
And you went on at least one trip, correct?
Trip?
Like you went in person to one of the properties, correct?
That's correct.
And was part of that trip a vacation for the Gua family?
It was a vacation/business trip. Any trip that we went on regarding Miles was always really 80% of his business. But the family did come along on that trip, correct?
You and Miles Gua were on that trip, right?
Yes.
And other of your security team were on that trip, right?
That's correct, the whole security team.
And Gladys Chow went on that trip?
Yes, she did.
And Gladys Chow was Miles Gua's translator, right?
Yeah, she translated for me. I don't know if that was her exact title, but she did translate.
Her formal company she worked for was HCHK, right?
Yes.
In terms of what she actually did, she was Miles Gua's personal translator, right?
Ms. Strofa said, "Objection."
The court said you may answer.
Yes, she translated. That's correct.
And she was also performing kind of personal assistant type task as well, right?
That's correct.
And in addition to you, security guys, Gladys Chow, Miles Gua's wife went on that trip, right?
On that trip, yes.
And Miles Gua's daughter's fiancé went on that trip, right?
I don't remember him being on that particular trip.
Wayne Chow is.
I don't remember him being there, but I can't say that he wasn't. I'm trying to remember who went on that trip. Sorry. I went on a few trips. I'm just trying to remember what trip that was.
Just on Meg Gua's fiancé, that's Defeng Chow, right?
Yes.
He also goes by Wayne Chow?
I call him Wayne, correct.
And after looking at that property in person, nobody bought it, right?
No.
Now, it wasn't just large properties that you looked at as part of your work for Miles Gua, right?
That's correct.
You also looked at penthouse apartments in Manhattan, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
They were worth tens of millions of dollars, correct?
I guess.
Some of them only had 4 bedrooms, correct?
Yes. The one that I went on, yes, that's correct.
And there are 4 people in Miles Gua's immediate family, correct?
As far as I know, correct.
There's Miles Gua, right? There's Miles Gua's wife, right?
Yeah, as far as I know that's correct.
And then there's Miles Gua's son, right?
Yes.
And then there's Miles Gua's daughter?
That's correct.
Now, those penthouse apartments, they weren't purchased either, right?
No, not that I know of.
What was purchased was a property earlier in Mowat, New Jersey, right?
That's correct.
And you had a role with that property, fair to say?
Yes.
And you discussed that role with Yvette, right?
That's correct.
And you discussed Taurus Fund with Yvette, right?
I didn't discuss Taurus Fund with Yvette, but I did discuss if we had like an invoice. It would go to Yvette.
Mr. Ferguson said, if we could pull up, Ms. Loftus, what's in evidence and publish at GX Buck 1234. Sir, you know what Taurus Fund LLC is, right?
Do I know that they purchased the house in New Jersey? That's correct.
And the entity held title to the Mawa mansion, it was Taurus Fund LLC?
That's correct.
Ms. Strofa said, "Is he showing something?"
Mr. Ferguson said, it's being pulled up. And while we're waiting, I'll just ask a few questions. You were one of the managing members of Taurus Fund, LLC?
So, on paper they had me down as a manager. That wasn't my idea of what my job role was. So when they asked me to be a manager, I just thought they just meant to manage the property and install the security services. It wasn't to manage Taurus Fund because I would have no experience, nor would I undertake something like that.
Did you know what Taurus Fund was?
No, I just assume it was a company.
But you were given paperwork by Aaron Mitchell to sign?
Yes.
And Aaron Mitchell was another lawyer for the Gua family, right?
Yes, he was.
He was close with the Gua family, right?
Yes.
Fair to say he was a trusted person in the inner circle?
Ms. Strofa said, objection.
The court said you may answer.
I don't have an answer for you on that.
The court said, I need for you to speak into the microphone so everyone can hear you.
He was friendly with them. I don't know how close he was. I wasn't that close with Aaron. So I don't know.
And you signed the paperwork that Aaron Mitchell gave you, right?
I did.
And you thought the paperwork made you some kind of property manager, right?
So when I signed it, I didn't really understand. I just thought it meant to manage the property. And I didn't really understand the whole ins and outs of it until later on.
And, Mr. Barnett, we got the document up now. Do you see towards the middle of the page it says on the right, it says entity name?
Yes, I do.
And it says Taurus Fund LLC to the right of that?
Yep.
If we could go to page 3, please. Why don't we zoom on the boxes 4, 5, and 6? You see on number 6 it says name and address of each manager or managing members?
Yes.
And number 2 is Scott Barnett, that's you, right?
That's correct.
Do you live in Las Vegas, Nevada?
No, I do not.
Is that your correct address?
No, it is not.
Now, you didn't think you were actually the owner of the Taurus Fund LLC, correct?
No, I did not.
You learned what the paperwork you signed actually meant after filing bankruptcy, right?
After I showed it to my attorney, he explained it to me.
And that was when you got sued in the bankruptcy, right?
That's correct. They put me down as the owner of it, which took me a little bit by surprise. Correct.
Because that's not true, sir. You're not the actual owner of the Moa mansion, right?
No, I'm not.
Mr. Ferguson said, and we can take that down, Ms. Loftus. That wasn't your house, right?
No.
But you did take Milesqua there, correct?
Yes, I did take him there.
And he was there 2 to 3 times a week?
Ms. Strofa said, objection, misstates testimony.
The court said, overruled. You may answer.
I took him there. I don't think it was 2 or 3 times a week. Maybe in the beginning when it first started. Other than that, it was sporadic. And I wasn't with him every day, so I don't have an actual accounting of how many times he was there.
Sure. You didn't have a bedroom there?
No, I did not.
Milesqua had a bedroom there, right?
Yes, on the 2nd floor.
And Milesqua's wife had a bedroom there?
That's correct.
Milesqua's son had a bedroom there?
Yes.
Milesqua's daughter had a bedroom there?
That's correct.
Milesqua's daughter's fiancé had a bedroom there?
That I don't know.
And, in fact, the Gua family did not just have bedrooms there, is that correct?
Ms. Strofa said, objection. What's the question?
The question was, the Gua family didn't just have bedrooms at Moa Mansion, correct?
Ms. Strofa said, objection to form.
The court said you can answer. Did they have something in addition to bedrooms?
I don't understand the question. I know what you're asking. But I don't know what you're referring to.
Let me rephrase. These weren't just bedrooms. They were whole wings, correct?
That's correct.
They were multi-rooms. Portions of this mansion were just 4.
Yes, one side like I don't know what direction that is, but if you walk into the right. One side was Miles' area. The other side was the Mrs. area. That's correct.
And you didn't keep a set of Brioni suits at Moa Mansion, correct?
Ms. Strofa said, objection.
The court said, overruled. You may answer.
If you're asking if I kept them personally.
Yes, sir.
No.
Do you own a whole set of Brioni suits?
I own Brioni suits, but they're from the real, so they're used. I can't afford Brioni suits, sir.
But Milesqua kept a whole set of Brioni suits at the Moa Mansion, correct?
I don't know.
And, sir, you didn't pick the renovation to those wings, correct?
I did not, no.
Miles Guo was the one who designed that, correct?
Ms. Strofa said, objection.
The court said, you may answer if you know.
I don't know. I don't know if he was the only one that picked. I don't know.
He had a role in designing them?
Yes, he did.
In fact, you walked through sort of the wing with Miles Guo at a time, correct?
Yes, I have.
And there were also renovations, just not to bedrooms, but to closets, correct?
That's correct.
And Miles Guo picked the renovations done to his closet, right?
I believe so, but I can't confirm that.
Ms. Strofa said, could you keep your voice up, Mr. Barnett? I missed what you said after I believe so.
I said I believe so. I can't confirm that. I believe so.
And you didn't pick out the beds that were in the Guo family's bedroom?
No, I did not.
Miles Guo did that, right?
That I don't know, cause I didn't have anything to do with that part of the construction.
Do you know if the Guo family more generally picked out the beds in their bedrooms?
I don't know.
You didn't pick out the furnishing in their bedroom, right?
No, I did not.
Miles Guo did that, correct?
Again, I don't know. I wasn't privy to that part of it. Unless we went to a specific store and he picked something out, then I could confirm that. But I wasn't with him when they were picking out anything in regards to bedroom furniture, or I wasn't privy to that.
Now, you did know though that wing when you took, I think you said it was to the right?
That's correct.
The wing to the right was Miles Guo's wing?
That's right, on the second floor, correct.
And you knew that because you were helping him with that property, correct?
Ms. Strofa said, objection.
The court said, you may answer.
As part of the construction plans then, yes, I knew that.
You became aware that there was a bankruptcy proceeding, correct?
In regards to HCHK.
Involving Miles Guo at least.
Yes.
Are you aware that Miles Guo did not mention this mansion in Mawa in his bankruptcy filings at all?
No, I did not.
Are you aware that he didn't mention any of the money spent on the renovations at this mansion?
No.
Are you aware he didn't mention any of the $35,000 beds bought for this mansion?
No, I did not.
Are you aware he didn't mention any of the furniture? The hundreds of thousands of dollars in furniture or millions bought for this mansion?
No, I did not have knowledge.
Are you aware he didn't mention?
Ms. Strofa said, Your Honor, I think Mr. Barnett has no knowledge of what Mr. Miles Guo mentioned in his bankruptcy.
The court said, Ms. Schroff, I have said to you in the past that you are not to testify. If you want to make an objection, make an objection.
Ms. Strofa said, objection, Your Honor, cumulative.
The court said, overruled. You may answer.
Are you aware he didn't disclose the millions or thousands at least of dollars spent on artwork for this mansion where his family had wings?
No, I'm not aware of that.
Now, the money that went to Mawa was passed through a woman named Amy Buck, correct?
That's correct.
It was passed through her attorney.
Ms. Strofa said, objection to the form of the question as to pass through. It's inappropriate, Your Honor.
The court said, well, if you could be more specific.
Amy Buck was paying the expenses for the Mawa mansion, correct?
That's who I sent the invoices to, correct.
She was paying it through her attorney trust account, correct?
Yes, I believe so, yes.
Now, you testified on direct about a man named Sean Jing?
Yes.
And Sean Jing you said worked for HCHK, right?
I believe so, yes.
That was the company that he worked for, correct?
I believe so.
Same company that you believe Gladys Chow formerly worked for?
That's correct.
Sean Jing was another personal assistant to the Guo family, right?
He was at one time. I think when, are you asking in regards to Mawa?
Well, he performed kind of personal assistant type task for the Guo family?
Yes, he did.
And he also acted as a property manager for the mansion in Mawa, right?
Yes.
And in the personal assistant type work, he did things for Miles Guo, right?
That I don't know. I know he did assistant stuff. but I don't know what jobs he did or didn't do.
And he did things for the Gua family more generally, correct?
Ms. Schrofa said, "Objection, he just said he answered the question."
One was to Miles Gua. This is the Gua family more generally.
The court said, "So you may answer the question."
Sorry. Can you ask that again?
Of course. Sean Jing, he did things for the Gua family more generally?
Yes.
There were other people who did personal assistant type work for the Gua family, correct?
Ms. Schrofa said, "Form."
The court said, "You may answer."
Yes.
One of them was named Hank, right?
Yes.
He had a Chinese name, but in English he went by Hank, right?
I don't know his Chinese name.
And another one was named Jason, right?
Yes.
And you described them before as kind of like indentured servants, right?
Ms. Schrofa said, "Objection."
The court said, "Overruled."
You described them before as kind of like indenture servants, right?
That's how I classified it, as more of a joking manner. That's how I classified it, sorry.
You said that, right?
I did.
And they did whatever personal stuff the family needed, right?
Yes, I believe so.
They did shopping?
Yes.
They did cooking?
Yes.
They chauffeured the family around?
Yes, sometimes, yes.
And they would buy things the family wanted, right?
I guess. I wouldn't be privy to what they bought for the family except for groceries.
Now, at times Miles Gua had you buy things for him, right?
Me personally, sir. Yeah, if it was mostly like anything, like. If he needed a pair of iPods for your ears, but anything of real expense I had to ask.
He had you buy motorcycles for him, right?
Yes, they had me buy motorcycles. No, they didn't have me buy it. They ask.
And you did that, right?
I did.
How many was it? 4 or 5?
I believe in the end it was 5.
And each one cost a few tens of thousands of dollars?
They varied in price.
And the motorcycles were in your name, right?
Yes, they were.
But those were not really your motorcycles?
No, they were not.
You weren't the real owner of those motorcycles, correct?
No, I wasn't.
Miles Gua asked you to do this after you filed for bankruptcy, correct?
Ms. Schrofa said, "Objection, Your Honor, assumes facts not in evidence."
The court said, "Overruled." You may answer.
I don't know. I don't know when as far as a bankruptcy, and when they ask, I don't know.
You testified on direct that at a certain point Yvette wanted you to rent them to supporters?
We had a discussion about it, that's correct.
And that was in late 2022, right?
I believe so.
Were you aware that shortly before that the United States had seized hundreds of millions of dollars from the entities associated with Miles Gua?
No, I was not.
Did Gua ever say that the Department of Justice had just done that?
No.
Did Yvette ever say that the Department of Justice had just done that before she had this conversation about renting out these assets?
No.
Mr. Ferguson said, "If we could pull up, Ms. Loftus, what's in evidence as Government Exhibit WA-26? Ms. Loftus? Why don't we just zoom in on the bottom half, please? Now, sir, this lists several vehicles. Do you see the pictures of the vehicles?
I do.
Some of them are the motorcycles you purchased, correct?
Yes, that's correct, the two at the top there.
For instance, the Ducati, in the bankruptcy proceedings when that came up. You didn't even know that was still in your name, right?
I did not.
Ms. Schrofa said, "Objection, Your Honor. I think we've established what his knowledge basis is about the bankruptcy."
The court said, "Overruled." You may answer.
I did not.
You didn't know that that was still in your name, correct?
I did not, correct.
And if we could zoom out. Now, the person listed under owner. Do you see that in the second to right column?
Barely.
We can blow it up. You see that says owner?
Yep.
And then in the person listed there is Defeng Chow, correct?
Correct.
He wasn't the actual owner of these motorcycles either, correct?
Ms. Shrofa said, objection to form.
The court said you may answer.
I was the original owner. I don't know who the second owner of those motorcycle was or became.
If we can just scroll down. Let's zoom on the Lamborghini. Mr. Barnett. You see under the owner column for the Lamborghini it says Defeng Chow. You see that?
That's correct.
And there's an address for 373 Taconic Road in Greenwich, Connecticut. You see that?
Yes.
That was one of the Gua family homes, correct?
That's where I currently do security, yes.
And do you see in the notes column it says G Club International Ltd?
Yes.
Do you know why it says that?
I have no idea.
You also testified in your discussions with Yvette about signing out certain of the assets to supporters. They mentioned the Lamborghini too?
That was mentioned, correct.
In discussing the Lamborghini, did Yvette say that the United States government had just seized hundreds of millions of dollars from G clubs?
No, she did not.
Mr. Ferguson said, if we can go to Government Exhibit WA27, if we can zoom on the text here. Mr. Barnett, you see how in the notes column you're listed as Scott Barnett driver?
Yes, that's correct. I see that.
And then under owner it says HCHK Technologies for the first two?
That's correct.
And in the bottom two it says GS Security Solutions, right?
That's correct.
GS Security Solutions, that's your company, right?
That's correct.
These are the BMWs that you purchased, correct?
Yes.
And you purchased them with money from HCHK Technologies, correct?
I did.
And that was in January of 2023, right?
Correct.
That's nearly a year after Milesgua had declared bankruptcy, right?
Apparently.
Ms. Shrofa said, objection, assumes knowledge that this witness has disclaimed.
The court said, do you know what year he declared bankruptcy?
The witness said, no, ma'am, I do not.
The court said, sustained.
Sir, you used money from HCHK to buy those BMWs, right?
That's correct. The money was a part of the startup agreement, that's correct.
Mr. Ferguson said, now, we can take that down, Ms. Loftus. You also had a role in managing a yacht, correct?
No.
You received emails from the Liberty Yacht captain, right?
Yes, that's correct. That was in regards to repairs that were being done because I guess Max Krasner was inundated with whatever he was doing and couldn't keep up with the constant emails from the captain. So Yvette asked me to join in on that to make sure that the repairs were getting done.
Now, your attorneys produced some of those emails to the government, right?
Yes.
Max Krasner, who you just mentioned, he also received those emails, right?
Yes, as far as I know.
Sir, you didn't work for G Club, right?
No, I did not.
Max Krasner, he didn't work for G Club either, right?
I have no idea.
Mr. Ferguson said, Ms. Loftus, can we show the witness what's marked as Government Exhibit SB 212?
The court said, Mr. Ferguson.
Mr. Ferguson said, I'm waiting for an exhibit, Your Honor. It's okay, Your Honor. I'll just move on.
The court said, okay.
Mr. Ferguson said, thank you for the indulgence. Sir, you also talked a bit about Milesgua's supporters on direct, right?
Yes.
And sometimes the supporters would go to 3 Columbus Circle, right?
Yes.
They would listen to Milesgua talk?
Yes.
They would clap for him?
Yes.
Fair to say they idolized him?
Yes.
They would ask him to hold babies, right?
I've seen that. I don't know if they asked or not. It would have been in Chinese. I wouldn't have understood.
Ms. Shrofa said, what you did say.
I've seen him hold people's babies. I don't know if they asked or not. They were speaking in Chinese, so I don't know.
Sometimes they would bring their children with them to 3 Columbus Circle?
Yes, I've seen that.
And they would bring their children and give those children an iPad, right?
Yes, I've seen that.
And then those supporters would just work all day, right?
Ms. Shrofa said, "Objection."
The court said, "Overruled. You can answer."
I wasn't there all day, but, yes, they worked.
And these supporters, when they were working, they didn't listen to other workers, right?
Ms. Shrofa said, "Objection as to form."
The court said, "Well, it's impossible for him to say whether others were listening. He can't perceive that."
Mr. Ferguson said, "I can rephrase, Your Honor.
The court said, "Okay."
You're aware of instances withdrawn. Your impression, Mr. Barnett. Being in 3 Columbus Circle when this was happening was that these supporters didn't always listen to other workers. Correct?
I can't speak for other workers. But I have seen instances where if there was issues with other workers, I had spoken with other workers in regards to it.
And these supporters, they always listened to Milesqua, right?
Again, all the conversation were in Chinese. I could tell you that they did listen to him. But I can't tell you what was said.
And, look, your impression was that this stuff with the supporters was weird, fair to say?
Ms. Shrofa said, "Objection."
The court said, "You may answer."
Weird. I guess I don't know if I'd use the word weird. I guess it was just different for me because I've never seen it before. Usually I would say that with like celebrities where people were kind of in awe of a celebrity. That's kind of the impression I got from it.
Sir, you testified about how Milesqua was one of the better people you've been a bodyguard for, right?
That's correct.
You like him, right?
I like him very much.
And you testified about how you thought he was sincere with the stuff he was doing with the NFSC, right?
That's correct.
Sir, you didn't watch his live broadcast in Mandarin, correct?
No, I did not.
You didn't follow him online, correct?
No, I did not.
You didn't invest in any of those investment projects, did you?
No, I did not.
You didn't send companies affiliated with Milesqua your personal money, correct?
No, sir.
You didn't send him your retirement money, correct?
Ms. Shrofa said, "Objection, asked and answered."
The court said, "Overruled. You may answer."
No, I did not.
You didn't send him money you had borrowed from your home equity, correct?
Ms. Shrofa said, "Objection, asked and answered."
The court said, "Overruled. You can answer."
No, I did not.
You didn't send him your family's money, correct?
No, sir, I did not.
And it's true, sir, that actually you got money from working for Milesqua, right?
Meaning for services, sir. I don't know what you're asking.
We talked about all the money you got paid earlier?
For services, correct.
Ms. Shrofa said, "Objection to the form, Your Honor."
The court said, "Sustained."
Mr. Ferguson said, "May I just have a moment, Your Honor?"
The court said, "Yes."
Sir, you didn't lose money after sending it to Milesqua, correct?
I'm sorry.
Ms. Shrofa said, "Assumes facts that are clearly not verified."
The court said, "He stated he did not send money." Sustained.
Mr. Ferguson said, "Nothing further, Your Honor."
The court said, "Redirect."
Redirect examination. By Ms. Shrofa.
Mr. Barnett, good afternoon again.
Hello.
Mr. Barnett, for how many years did you honorably serve the people of the city of New York as an NYPD officer?
Mr. Ferguson said, "Objection."
The court said, "It's all right. How long did you serve as a police officer?"
For 17.5 years, ma'am.
And for 17 years did you testify on behalf of the city of New York or the state of New York?
Yes, I have testified.
Did you take an oath as you've taken here today?
Yes, I have.
Have you ever lied under oath?
No.
Today did you ever lie under oath?
No, ma'am.
And would you lie under oath for Milesqua?
No, ma'am.
Would you lie for Miles Gua because he had HCHK send you $15,000 or $30,000 or $650,000 or $600,000?
Mr. Ferguson said, argumentative.
The court said, overruled. You can answer.
No, ma'am, I would not.
Mr. Barnett, you got money for the work you did for May Gua, correct?
That's correct.
I'm not going to go through all of the iterations, but you got that money into a bank account, correct?
That's correct, my company's bank account.
And the company's bank account is at a real bank, right?
Chase Bank, that's correct.
And Chase Bank has never flagged your account, correct?
Mr. Ferguson said, objection, Your Honor.
The court said you may answer.
No, they have not.
These are wire transfers, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you know who these people were that wired the money?
I do not.
Do you know if they were May Gua's uncles?
Mr. Ferguson said, objection.
The court said you may answer.
Mr. Ferguson said, he said he doesn't know, Your Honor.
Were they her uncles?
I don't know.
Were they her family in China?
Mr. Ferguson said, objection again, asked and answered. Same question.
The court said you can answer.
I don't know.
You were asked about a person named Jian Wuzhong, correct?
I believe so, yes.
Do you know if he's related to May Gua?
I don't.
You were asked about a transfer of a $105,000 by Suzu Wang, correct?
Yes, I believe so.
Do you know if Suzu Wang is related to May Gua?
I don't know.
You were asked about a $107,000 transferred again by Mr. Zhang, correct?
Yes, I believe so.
Do you know that Mr. Zhang is related to May Gua?
I don't know.
Do you know who Deshingyin is?
I do not.
Do you know if Deshingyin is related to May Gua?
I do not.
You were asked about some money that came from Singapore, correct?
Yeah.
Do you know if May Gua has an uncle, aunt, or cousin in Singapore?
I don't know.
You were asked many questions about a man named Victor Serta, correct?
Yes.
Did Mr. Serta assist you when you needed a lawyer?
Yes, he did.
Did he give you a referral?
I don't know if he gave me the referral or it came from May. I don't recall who gave me the referral.
Did Mr. Serta ever tell you, I'll give you the money if you testify for Miles Gua?
No, he did not.
Did Mr. Serta tell you I'll give you the money if you talk to Ms. Schroff?
No, he did not.
Did Mr. Serta tell you, I'll only give you the money if you talk to Ms. Schroff and not talk to the government?
Mr. Ferguson said, objection.
The court said, overruled. You can answer.
No, he did not.
Did Mr. Serta attach any strings to the help he gave you?
No, he did not.
You were asked questions about a criminal lawyer that you hired or you were helped hire, correct?
I hired a criminal lawyer, that's correct.
Who chose that criminal lawyer?
I did.
Let me rephrase that. I apologize. I should know better. Criminal defense lawyer, who chose him?
I did.
Did Mr. Serta have anything to do with him?
Not in picking him out, no.
Did I have anything to do with him?
No.
Did any of Mr. Gua's lawyers have anything to do with the lawyer you chose?
No, it did not.
You were asked about a GoFundMe page, correct, Mr. Barnett?
Yes, that's correct.
Why did you need a GoFundMe page?
Because the lawyers that I've had to retain were requesting their money. And I had nowhere else to turn to get the money. I don't have that kind of money personally.
Victor Serta didn't give you that money, correct?
No, he did not.
May Gua didn't give you that money, correct?
No, she did not.
Wayne Chow didn't give you that money, correct?
No.
Yvette Wang didn't you give that money, correct?
No.
Miles Gua didn't give you that money, correct?
No, he didn't.
By the way, the money that you got, all those wire transfers that the government asked you about, you declared that on your income tax, correct?
Yes.
And you declared the GoFundMe money on your income tax, correct?
Mr. Ferguson said, objection, relevance, and scope.
The court said you may answer.
Not on this year tax. It would be next year tax that would be claimed on.
Now, you were asked many questions about other properties in New York City that you saw, correct?
Yes.
And one of the properties that they asked you about was a penthouse that had 4 bedrooms, correct?
Yes.
Did you know if Mr. Gua's son has been here in the year of 2024?
I have no idea.
When was the last time you saw his son?
The only time that I ever met him was in 2020, and I think it was October or November. I couldn't tell you what month it was.
Is it fair to say, sir, other than that one time you have never seen Mr. Miles' in this country?
I never seen him except that one time.
These 4-bedroom penthouses, do you know the reason why it wasn't purchased?
I don't.
You were asked questions about Aaron Mitchell, correct?
Yes.
Did you ever observe Aaron Mitchell and Miles Gua have a conversation?
Yes.
Did they seem to understand each other without an interpreter?
I don't know. I wasn't privy to the conversation. I witnessed them talking. But I couldn't tell you what the conversation was, nor what it was about.
Now, you were asked questions about the Taurus Fund, correct?
Yes.
Was your signature on the Taurus Fund forged?
No, it was not.
Did you sign it without understanding what the role was?
Yes, I did.
You were asked questions, were not you not, Mr. Barnett, about Brioni suits, correct?
Yes.
Do you know how many suits Mrs. Miles Gua owns?
I don't.
Do you know how many suits there are at the Sherry Netherlands?
I do not.
Do you know how many there are in Connecticut?
No, ma'am, I don't.
For all you know, the suits at Mawa are 1/3 of the suits he owns, you just don't know, correct?
I don't know.
At Mawa, did he broadcast from there?
Yes, he did.
Did he wear the same suit for every broadcast?
I didn't watch the broadcast. I can't answer that. I don't know.
You were asked many questions about Mr. Gua's bankruptcy, correct?
Yes.
Did you know when he declared bankruptcy?
I did not know.
Do you know if he declared bankruptcy?
I didn't know. No, I don't.
Do you know sitting here today what he did or did not disclose in his bankruptcy petition?
No, I don't know that.
Do you know if he consulted a lawyer who decided what to put in the petition?
I don't know. No, I don't.
You were asked questions about Sean Jing, Hank, and Jason, correct?
That's correct.
And the government said that you called them indentured servants, correct?
That's correct.
And you said you were joking when you said that, correct?
I said I was using it as a joke, but, they did serve the family. That's correct.
Let's talk about this. Did you see Miles Gua interact with Hank?
I've seen it, yes.
How would you describe that interaction?
More family, the best way to describe is family-like. But he was basically someone who did a lot of the work. He's a very hard worker.
Do you know sitting here today if Hank and Miles left China together when he left?
I have no idea.
Do you know if they escaped China together?
Mr. Ferguson said, he just said he doesn't know, Your Honor.
The court said, sustained.
Do you know if they were in Hong Kong together?
I don't.
Do you know if they came from Hong Kong to the United States together?
I don't know.
Do you know how much Mr. Miles has supported Hank?
I don't.
Do you know if he supports Hank's wife?
I don't know.
Do you know if he supports Hank's child?
I don't know.
You were asked several questions about motorcycles, correct?
Yes.
Lamborghini, correct?
Yes.
And then you were told or you were asked whether or not you were aware of DOJ's seizing assets, correct?
That's correct.
Do you know when the DOJ seized any asset of Mr. Gua's?
No, I don't.
So you would have no way to place your conversation with Yvette about renting these instrumentalities versus the DOJ seizure, correct?
Yes, correct.
You don't know if the conversation was months before the seizure, correct?
Mr. Ferguson said, objection, asked and answered.
The court said, sustained.
You simply don't know, correct?
Mr. Ferguson said, asked and answered.
The court said, sustained.
You were asked question after question about incidents and the seizure, correct?
Yes.
You have no knowledge of the timeline between the two, correct?
Mr. Ferguson said, objection, asked and answered.
Ms. Schrofa said, I could go through each of the instrumentalities. It will just take us a lot longer.
Mr. Ferguson said he doesn't know.
Okay. Do you know any correlation of the renting of the motorcycle and the seizure by DOJ?
No, I don't.
How about renting the Lamborghini and the seizure of DOJ?
The court said, all righty. It's 5 o'clock.
Mr. Ferguson said, Your Honor, may I have a very brief moment before you dismiss the jury? Very brief.
The court said yes.
Continued on next page. At the sidebar.
Mr. Ferguson said, I'm having a child tomorrow. If there's any way I would be able to finish this witness today, I'll do very brief recross. I have very limited questions, if there is any way we can finish the witness.
The court said, how long do you have?
Ms. Schrofa said, since he objected quite a bit.
The court said, oh God, this is terrible.
Ms. Schrofa said, nobody comes before the client. Sorry.
The court said, do you know when the baby is supposed to come?
Mr. Ferguson said, it's a scheduled C-section. You have to leave at 9 to be there.
Ms. Schrofa said, I'm sure one of his colleagues can step in.
Mr. Ferguson said, it's fine, Your Honor, if Ms. Schroff is not going to accommodate. We'll sort it out.
The court said, I'm so happy for you.
Continued on next page. In open court.
The court said, members of the jury, it's time to stop our work. We'll continue tomorrow morning as usual. Remember that you're not allowed to discuss the case amongst yourselves or with anyone else. Don't permit anyone to discuss the case in your presence. Don't listen to, watch, or read anything from any source about this trial. Have a good evening.
The law clerk said, jury exiting.
Jury not present.
The court said, please be seated. Sir, you may step out.
Witness temporarily excused. Continued on next page. Jury not present.
The court said, so how much more do we have on the defense case?
Ms. Schrofa said, Your Honor, we have Ms. Lee, and I think we have one last witness after that, and then we're done.
The court said, how long do you think all of that will take?
Ms. Schrofa said, Your Honor, I'm hoping that the direct will be no more than an hour and a half. I'm hoping shorter.
The court said, you're saying total?
Ms. Schrofa said, I don't know this second witness. He's not mine, Your Honor. Sorry.
Mr. Skirrick said, Your Honor, the final witness I would expect to be maybe an hour on direct.
The court said, so it's not looking like we will have the prosecution sum up tomorrow. Okay, well, I hope that you can be efficient so that we can get this done.
Ms. Murray said, Your Honor, if I may, one proposal. We had the chance to speak with the defense on timing and on summations. I think the parties are in agreement that, assuming the timing is what we expect, which is the defense will rest tomorrow assuming that Mr. Gua does not testify as they've indicated. We would do summation on Wednesday. But perhaps we could take some of the time tomorrow afternoon with the jury for the court to instruct them just on the law part of the instructions so we don't waste too much time in the afternoon.
The court said, you mean the substantive instruction?
Ms. Murray said, correct.
The court said, I think that's a great idea. You both agree to that?
Mr. Kumraju said, that's fine, Your Honor.
The court said, sure. Absolutely.
Mr. Kumraju said, I think, and you'll correct me, I think part of Your Honor's instruction turns on deliberation specifically. So that might just come after summations, but all the substantive legal stuff would be out of the way.
The court said, so I just want to get a letter from you as to from what section to what section you'd like me to charge the jury.
Mr. Kumraju said, absolutely, Your Honor. That proposal is generally fine with us.
The court said, okay. Have a good evening.
Adjourned to July 9, 2024 at 9 a.m.